and welcome to a brand new episode of the
Geek Buddies. Hey!
Well, we're back at it for another week of geeky goodness. A lot of stuff to get into today, an unusual show because there were so many trailers that have come out over the last few days that usually the way the show works, we'll each do a geek news item and then talk about it amongst ourselves and get into a main geek news item. But we got so many trailers, man. We're just going to basically split the show into two blocks. One block is all the trailers. We'll talk about it, reaction, our speculation, our guesses of what we're getting. Take a break, and then we're going to get into all the superhero news, including Kyle Chandler being selected as Hal Jordan for Lantern, some X-Men 97 stuff, some Wanda stuff, a lot going on in the world of DC Universe as well, like Matthias Schnoenart as the villain of Supergirl. So there's a lot we're going to get into. But let's introduce ourselves first. I am the Outlaw John Rucker, writer, producer, and host here on the Geek Buddies.
I am Michael Vogel, writer and producer of animated TV shows and movies.
And this is Shannon McClung. I'm a television actor and an animation writer and also a voice actor where you can hear me every week right now on Realm Media, iHeart Podcasts, and Blumhouse's Dream Sequence. Our last episode drops next Monday, the finale of season 1.
Do you think this voiceover work will get you closer to voicing a berry on Strawberry Shortcake or no?
No. Because this much voice work does not send me north of the border into Canada.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Well, all right. Well, let's get into things here. Let's not waste any time. We got so much to talk about. Mr. McClung, take it away.
Folks, we've got trailers, and trailers. We've got 6 today. 3 that came out earlier in the week and that we knew that we were going to talk about, and 3 came out like today. And it's like, well, are we going to add this? We're going to add this? I guess we're adding this too. So the first one also came out today. It was the teaser for The Last of Us Season 2. This is the award-winning, the award-nominated HBO original based off of the video game. Returning, we have Pedro Pascal, we have Bella Ramsey. Also new to the cast in this season, we have Caitlin Dever, Jeffrey Wright, Catherine O'Hara. The thing that really struck me about this trailer, and it's what struck me about the show as well, is how much they lean into the human relationships of this post-apocalyptic world where vegetable zombies, mushroom zombies have come to life and taken over the world, is again how much they lean on these relationships. And I think that is something that the audience really gravitated to. The dynamic that Joel and Ellie, this relationship where you have someone literally just protecting someone because they're a means to an end, and how you see this relationship develop and evolve. Just a fantastic first season, as was evidenced by the amount of awards that it was nominated for. And now we get season 2. It certainly seems like the safe haven that they had with Joel's brother might be going away in some capacity. Again, I've never played the second game, and I think this is one of those situations where it's actually, if you enjoyed the first season, not having played those games, going in knowing as little as I knew, that's one of the things that made the show such a treat, and I think that's what's going to happen with season 2 as well. But Mikey, let's start it off with you. What did you think of our first look at the second season of The Last of Us?
I mean, my main takeaway from watching the trailer was just, it was a great reminder of how fucking gorgeous the show is. Like, it's just, you know, when you're watching a trailer that's based on a video game about a bunch of like vegetable zombies, you don't go, well, that cinematography is really something. You don't think you're going to, but like the show is just, it's so elevated. And I think what was great about The Last of Us Season 1 and what's great, it looks like, about The Last of Us Season 2 is they didn't, I think with video games particularly, video games have been where comic book movies used to be, which is you either did what you thought was a comics accurate adaptation, which ended up being cheesy and silly, or you said, well, let's make this grown up, and you dumped everything out and sort of shat on the fact that it was a comic book. I think video games have suffered from that as well. And I think that The Last of Us does this amazing thing where it honors the video game so much. It has scenes in season 1 that are cut scenes from the video game, but it also knew where to take certain storylines and expand them out and change them. So you got this great thing where if you loved the video game, you felt like what you were watching really honored it, but there was still surprises for you. There was still some characters that kind of went a little bit differently. And so it's just, it made me really, really happy to watch this trailer. The other thing, completely separately and having nothing to do with The Last of Us, is after watching Catherine O'Hara in Beetlejuice and watching Catherine O'Hara's close-up face in this trailer, I think it is a crime, whatever they did to Catherine O'Hara's face in Beetlejuice to get rid of all of her wrinkles and make her face look smooth, made her look crazy. And Catherine O'Hara in this trailer, close-up face, wrinkles and all, is much more beautiful, and I just felt it needed to be said.
Johnny, Catherine O'Hara's wrinkles. What are your thoughts?
I no comment on that at all. Age gracefully or age with help. I don't care. Whatever makes you happy. So just leave that alone. But listen, I did a reaction for this one because I had to. I mean, this is a series that absolutely, you watch a series sometimes and it just sticks with you for the rest of your life. And this is one of those ones that will stick with me for the rest of my life, because I just loved the interaction here between Pedro and Bella Ramsey throughout the whole series. The fact that I'd never played the video game, I think really helped me to just kind of look at it all cold and then watch later after the series was done, watch all the cutscenes from the first game. Pretty incredible stuff to see how similar they were to the energy and the vibe and the atmosphere of the game while adding new things to it. So how do you go to a season 2? You bring in all these fantastic actors like Caitlin Dever, Isabella Merced, Jeffrey Wright, Catherine O'Hara, along with the other young actors you're seeing in there to add more to what you've got in terms of the world here. And I thought this trailer absolutely adhered to the teaser aspect of it all. We see clearly that that it's been 5 years essentially since the first season, it seems like. So this relationship now has had 5 years to build a father-daughter relationship, but she's clearly expanding out. It looks like she's opening her door to a relationship. She's opening a door to new friendships. And also on the other side, Pedro is going to have to confront the things from his past. Joel, rather, is going to confront things from his past. What did you do? What did you do? What's that knife in the sink? What is this alluding to? So what are we going to explore here that he's hiding? And then you bring in all these characters, as I said, to be a part of this world. It's going to cause us to go in so many different directions. And Michael, I think 100% right. You don't think of cinematography or direction for a zombie film or a zombie series, but when you watch a show like this, you can't help but see through just the clips in this teaser trailer, the level of artistry that is coming to the forefront for us to experience. I mean, that shot of them all coming through the fence as she's climbing, that's an incredible shot. And then the shot of Jeffrey Wright standing over, I don't know what the person that is or what that situation is, but he looks evil as fuck. And that's what's great about Jeffrey Wright. He can play Jim Gordon and he can play the most ruthless villain you've ever seen, because he has a way of just removing emotion when he's a villain that is chilling. So overall, came away from this trailer super impressed. Can't wait to see the second season.
And along with that, I mean, and again, I know I kind of already gave my thoughts on it, but, looking at the cinematography of this, a lot of times with filmmaking, with TV making, there can be a misconception like this is such a glamorous industry. Oh, everyone that gets to work on it is rich. When you look when they're shooting, where they're shooting, way up in Canada, like in the wilderness, I'm like, you can tell like this was a hard shoot. Like, this was a difficult production. And I think the first season probably had the same thing. But just knowing what these folks went through to tell this story, and if the first season is any indication, I think the second season is going to be just as, or maybe even better. But The Last of Us, it is coming out early 2025 on HBO Max. And since we got Pedro Pascal, let's keep it moving to Gladiator 2. This is our second look at the Gladiator sequel. This one is starring Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Connie Nielsen is back. We have Joseph Quinn. I mean, this was one of those sequels, and I know we talked about it when we talked about the first trailer. When this announcement was made that Ridley Scott was going to do a sequel to a film that was almost 25 years old, it's like, why? Like, that first movie was great. Russell Crowe won an Oscar for it, but why do you need to revisit this? And then the whole idea that it's like, well, it's going to be about Lucius, the kid, and it's like, why? Having seen the second trailer now, do I feel like this needed to be a sequel to Gladiator? Not necessarily. I think that's going to be cool because they definitely give you some connections that Lucius and Maximus have that were not really spelled out in the first movie. But just the production value of this film, I mean, just the grandioseness, the scale of everything. It is just, I think it's just going to be such a wonder to watch on the big screen. But Johnny, let's throw it over to you first. What did you think of our second look at Gladiator 2?
Yeah, I'll make it real quick. I'm in love with this trailer. I love this. This is absolutely a John Roca trailer. You get Denzel hamming it the fuck up so well, but also laying the intention out very clearly that he is going to go from trainer, friend, assistant to someone that Paul Mescal is going to have to probably kill by the end of the movie. Those two emperors, I hope they don't play them for Mel Gibson, Braveheart, foppish type of approach like they did with with certain somebody in that movie. I hope they don't play that angle and let them be maniacs without sliding into that kind of foppishness. So that's my only concern on that end. But Paul Mescal, Lucius's connection to his father, that comes through very, very strongly in this trailer. So you are very, very clear what his motivating factor is here, besides the death of what seems to be his wife in the battle or whatever. But it's also the fact that he wants to honor his father so strongly, and Connie Nielsen coming in to really hammer that point home. So I came away incredibly impressed and super excited. And Shannon, you might be asking why again, because they just said that he's considering a Gladiator 3. So, Mike, take it away, Mike.
Mikey, are you Gladiator woo or Gladiator boo?
I don't know what you thought about those two emperors that makes you think they're going to go gay. They just look like crazy people.
I don't know.
Like, there ain't nothing gay about it. They're literally screaming like
epic
sociopaths through the entire trailer.
All right. I'm just saying, I've seen it on numerous epic films where they go that route, and I don't want to see it again. That's all.
I was Shannon that, like, when I heard Gladiator 2, I was like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, after Alien, Covenant, and Prometheus, I was kind of ready to put Ridley to bed. This feel like it's just a fucking movie. Like, this trailer, like there's no, like, it's a movie. Like, you're filling the Coliseum with water, which really did happen, but like you're like, it's just like there is a scale to this that is just insane when you watch the trailer. And if they deliver on it, and I think, to Ridley Scott's credit, one of the reasons that Gladiator is still such a beloved movie is because he kind of took a period piece but gave it the vibe and the energy and the Hans Zimmer score of just a fucking tentpole action. Like it, a lot of times with period pieces, it feels a little bit slower, or you're taking things seriously. And Gladiator was just like fucking balls to the wall. And I think that's what you get from this trailer. It has this epic, huge period piece feel to it, but it's just like visceral. And in addition to like getting more about the Lucius story, like and really seeing Denzel Washington kind of turn to where he's gonna end up, you do get a little bit more of like the complications. Like, the first movie was very clearly like there was Maximus here and there was the Emperor here, and like this was the thing. But with the Pedro Pascal part of this, you're like, oh, Lucius is blaming him, but he doesn't seem like a bad guy, and he's not happy with them, and they're the real problem, but these two are sort of facing off against each other, but Denzel's really using him. So like, you see the way that all of these pieces that were on the board for Gladiator in a pretty direct way sort of get complicated and moved around. And if they sell that, if they do that successfully, then you really do have a thing where you did a sequel that honored the first movie, but really built on it and complicated the story more. So this trailer kind of made me go, okay, it seems like you kind of do have this concept that could really work. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. I mean, this is going to be one, I think it's going to do really well when it opens, because just everything about this trailer, not just movie nerds, but like, I think anybody watching this trailer is like, yeah, that's probably one I want to go and see in a theater. That's a big screen movie.
Yeah, that's an IMAX movie.
Yeah.
And a thing like when these historical epics tend to come out, there's always specials like on the History Channel. Like, I'm so fascinated to watch that special to be like, all right, how much of this was actually true, because the idea that they are flooding the Coliseum and they got sharks in there somehow. I mean, to me, that is so beyond belief. But what people have said is like, nope, they actually did that. So Gladiator 2 comes out November 22nd. Just 5 days later, we get another sequel, one that some folks that you're looking at right now haven't necessarily been sold on. We got a new look at MOANA 2. This one is only about a minute long. Doesn't show us much more, but it does show us one of the potential antagonists, which is another nature-based monster demigod god up in the sky. Again, I think that the animation on this just looks gorgeous. What's the story going to be? How's it going to turn out? We're not really sure. But Mikey, I'll throw it over to you. MOANA 2, MOANA woo, or MOANA boo?
I want a MOANA woo. I want a MOANA woo. Like I love MOANA. I think MOANA is an absolutely spectacular movie. I've been hearing not great things. I know that it was going to be a TV series, and then they decided to take the TV series and make it a movie, which is always a big question mark. I have heard, I don't know if this is 100% true, but like Maui wasn't necessarily in the TV series. But then when they did the movie, they were like, well, and so then Maui is now back in the movie, and Dwayne Johnson came like later on to film to record his dialogue. Lin-Manuel Miranda's not back because he did the songs for Mufasa, and because this was a TV show, they had different people doing the songs. So every little bit of information and every little thing I hear kind of makes me go, I want it to be good. I want this to be like a Toy Story 2, where it was supposed to be a direct-to-DVD, but then they said, let's add another 20 minutes and put it in theaters, and then it became amazing. But this trailer didn't do anything to sell me on that. And it's because, as we were talking about with Gladiator, you got this second trailer and you started to really see, oh, this is what's really going on with this story. This second trailer of MOANA didn't give you really anything, because it's like, I still don't okay, I get that MOANA was chosen to like get her people back in the ocean at the end of the first movie. And I get that she's in the water now and she has a little sister, and that there's another monster that her and Maui are going to fight. But like, okay, like what's the emotional story here? What is the reason for this movie to be? And by the second trailer, you usually get a hint of that. And the fact that this was just more of like it's an adventure makes me think that this is going to be a pretty thin movie.
Johnny, did you want a MOANA new, or are you MOANA through?
Oh my God.
I got 5 more if we keep talking about it.
Maui yes or Maui no? Here's what I would say. Yeah, it's fine. I'm interested. Clearly, I don't think Maui is going to be in this much as people are thinking. And like you said, Michael, probably a last-minute addition, and it seems to read that way. This is going to be much more focused on her, like very clearly focused on her. And so in that way, I hope it's good. I want it to be good. I'm going to see it. So the trailer didn't really do much for me, other than show me some beautiful animation, and we get, like you said, a new villain. But overall, I'm in. So this didn't move the needle one way or another. I'm still going to see it. So that's it. That's my reaction.
He's not the best color man in the league for nothing, folks.
Nice.
MOANA 2 comes out November 27th.
It was only a minute long. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Our next trailer that actually came out today, actually MOANA 2 came out today. So our last trailer that actually came out today was our first look at Ballerina from the world of John Wick. This one is starring Ana de Armas. Keanu Reeves is going to be popping up. Ian McShane, the great and unfortunately departed Lance Reddick. So yeah, this is a spinoff of the John Wick series. And Ana de Armas, it's so interesting because she really came onto the scene hard. Like she Knives Out, she popped up in a Bond movie. She got an Academy Award nomination for her work as Marilyn Monroe. Then outside of the Apple film with Chris Evans, we haven't really seen that much of her. But in terms of visuals, she looks like she just belongs in this world. I mean, the trailer, it is directed by Len Wiseman, which I have kind of like he's very hit or miss for me. But based off of the trailer, this does look like a very, very, very fun film, especially if you are into the world of John Wick. But Johnny, we'll throw it over to you first. What did you think of our first look at Ballerina?
I had not heard good things from a couple of people I know behind the scenes on this one, and so I was not expecting much. But I gotta say, I came out of this trailer kind of interested to see it and see where we're going with this thing. I'm with you on Len Wiseman. Very, very hit or miss. I like Underworld, but not much else that he's done feature film wise. I know he directed episodes of Sleepy Hollow. Good for him. But yeah, but to me, it's the
Jesus Christ. a lot of Sleepy Hollow anger right there.
I got a headless horseman for you. But this I like the idea that Ana de Armas owns this role. Like, it could have easily been just someone playing the role. Do you know what I'm saying? We've seen this where certain actors or actresses take on an action film and they really don't like convey that thing you need to convey. And Anna does. And I really love that. It kind of picks up what she did in No Time to Die. Those 6 minutes that she was in the film. She was badass in the film. And this kind of picks up with that in terms of the energy that she's bringing to this. I like the backstory that it's about her dad's death. I like that she's connected to Angelica Houston's Ruska Roma ballerina troupe there. So all of that. And then there's this vulnerability when she's talking to Wick about I want to do what you do. How do I do what you do? All of that. So clearly this is a person who's got a revenge angle. And I love revenge angles. That's where Wick lives and breathes. So why her? Why now? Why does she stand out? What makes her so important? So I'm curious. But we've also got Norman Reedus in this, which I didn't even know he was going to be in this. Catalina Sandino Moreno, who I've been a big fan of for a very long time. And Gabriel Byrne, who you can never go wrong putting Gabriel Byrne in a movie, even in a terrible movie like End of Days with Schwarzenegger. He's a damn good Satan. So I love Gabriel Byrne. Hey, please.
End of Days, Sleepy Hollow. What else do you have on your hit list today, Johnny?
Well, I also like that Anne Padillard is in this, who was in La Femme Nikita. So bringing in some old school female action stars to be a part of this, I think is so much fun too. So overall, I came away from this trailer very impressed. I hope this isn't the best of the movie. And with Len Wiseman, you can't rule that out. So I hope in the end it is a good film, but we will see.
Mikey, all your time dancing in West Hollywood, have you ever seen a full-on martial arts fight happen, yet you still keep dancing? What did you think of Look at Ballerina?
It depends on what you've taken that evening. You might just keep dancing. First of all, I want to say I thought Sleepy Hollow was a lovely show.
Okay.
Secondly, End of Days is not Schwarzenegger's best, but you put that on a Saturday afternoon, it's enjoyable enough.
Are you just going to counter all my reviews? Is this what's going on here, for fuck's sakes?
Thirdly, John Roca doesn't like the Goonies, and I feel like we need to talk about it. Look, here's the thing. I thought this was a great trailer. I think John Wick really kind of did sort of kickstart this new sort of modern vibe for action movies, which is the beauty and violence. I don't know other way to put it. Like when you watch John Wick, as violent as that movie is, the reason that it's so good is you're watching those highly choreographed, super, super violent action sequences, and you're like, that looks fucking amazing. And so this is a great trailer because the trailer feels like it fits in that John Wick universe. You watch these moments and you're like, yeah, this is female John Wick. It's R-rated Black Widow. I get what this is. I'm fucking in. To your guys' point, this movie lives or dies on how stylish it looks. I have no doubt that Ana de Armas is going to do a great job. As you guys both pointed out, it's an amazing cast across the board. But a John Wick movie in the John Wick universe only works if it visually is just like peak. And that's the big question. The trailer makes it look peak. Like the trailer feels John Wick. Is the movie going to feel that way? That is, as John and Shannon have pointed out, Sleepy Hollow notwithstanding. That is the question.
Well, Ballerina comes out. It's June 5th. It's June 6th. So this is going to be one of our potentially big summer movies. That brings us to our next trailer, another one that's coming out in 2025. So this one is called Sinners. So earlier this year, maybe late last year, there was the story that Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan were reteaming for a vampire film. And that's, as far as I remember, that's basically all we got. This trailer comes out and it's like, oh, this is a period piece. This looks like it's set in the 20s or the 30s. It looks like in the South. Apparently, Michael B. Jordan is playing twins. In this trailer, which is super ominous and super well cut, you don't see any fangs, but you definitely get the sense that there is a looming doom on the horizon for Michael B. Jordan's. I thought this trailer looked so fantastic, and as with most Coogler movies, it's going to be it's a vampire movie on the surface, but there's a lot going on underneath. So, Mikey, I'll throw it over to you first. What did you think of our first look at Sinners?
This was a spectacular trailer. Like, this trailer was absolutely great. I love Coogler. I love Michael B. Jordan. I love a scary vampire movie, and I think that this trailer was scary. I have no doubt we're going to see cool vampire shit. Like, I'm completely fine not seeing that. The vibe of this trailer was just so visceral, so interesting. And like, look, I love that Coogler and Michael B. Jordan work together. I love that Coogler uses Ludwig Göransson for all of his scores, because I think that this is going to be a banger score, because Ludwig Göransson, to me, is like, you take the best of Hans Zimmer and the best of John Williams, and Ludwig Göransson, when he's at his best, like, that's what he is. And I thought this did a great job of, like, tons of questions coming out of it, not really knowing fully what's going on, but just the hints of what we got. I was very, very, very intrigued. Like, I think this is going to be, I think this is going to take people by surprise. I think this movie's going to, like, come out and just do absolutely gangbusters. That's my prediction.
Johnny, Ryan Coogler, you know, famously did Creed. Do you think this movie looks like a knockout?
Oh, God.
That's terrible. Here's what I'll say. I liked this trailer a lot. I don't want to get countered by Michael or anything I say, but like I really enjoyed this trailer. And the rap is the only one with the synopsis saying that they are twin vampire brothers, Michael B. Jordan's characters. So we don't know if that's true or not, because other people are just saying they're twin brothers who come home to see to confront another evil, right? A darker evil, which clearly is going to be the Ku Klux Klan. Jack O'Connell is going to be the leader of the Ku Klux Klan in this. But a lot of people are going like, well, maybe they're werewolves or maybe they're zombies because of the way they're walking towards the house. And it's like, I would hate it if he defaulted to that. Vampires versus Ku Klux Klan, that is awesome in so many ways, especially black vampires. I said this in my reaction, like, it could be interesting if it's the community that has to choose between two black twin brothers who've been killing black members of the community to feed off their blood and the Ku Klux Klan. Who do we choose? That could be fascinating. The other aspect of it all, of course, is what's more evil than vampires, what the Ku Klux Klan are doing, because it's more insidious and it can creep into all the institutional aspects of your existence as a black human being. So there's a lot here, but visually and the tease we got in this, we are in the hands of a master filmmaker coming back to do what he does best.
Yeah.
The smaller films talking about race. Black Panther is fantastic. Wakanda Forever, a little bit less or so, but certainly this is his wheelhouse. Fruitvale Station, Creed, these smaller stories when he can showcase what Michael B. Jordan can do as an actor, but what he can do as a filmmaker, and this commentary he wants to make about our society. So overall, just came out of this thing crazy excited to see this one when it finally comes out.
I mean, I'm not
Mikey, you look like you had some more thoughts.
Well, I would just say, I don't think that I would separate Black Panther from Creed and Fruitvale Station. Wakanda Forever is what it is for lots of reasons, but I mean, arguably Black Panther is one of the absolute best of the Marvel movies because Ryan Coogler took superhero material and did elevate it. Like, he does talk about race in Fruitvale Station. He does talk about race in Creed. It absolutely seems like he's going to talk about race in Sinners, and he talks about race in Black Panther. I mean, that's why Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger is one of the most interesting Marvel villains. So I agree with everything John said, including the Klan and its insidiousness. I just wouldn't separate Black Panther out of that.
Oh well, someday I'll get a full comment correct in your eyes. Go ahead. Let's
maybe it'll be after.
It's been 25 years. I don't know.
Maybe it'll be after March 7th, 2025, when this film comes out. And that brings us to our last trailer. This was the first trailer for general audiences for Thunderbolts. This is basically the MCU Suicide Squad. This one stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, David Harbour, Louis Pullman, Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Yeah, this is some of our antagonists from the past. Julie Louis-Dreyfus or someone is putting them together for reasons. We saw a version of this trailer back at Comic-Con. They also showed it at D23. It looks like they added some more kind of like a sections of a big action sequence. But we'll throw it over to Mikey first. What did you think of our first theatrical look at Thunderbolts?
Well, it's interesting. We were texting about it because this is more or less what we saw at Comic-Con. But watching it now with it coming out where I could like really kind of like break it down and look at it, where it wasn't shoved in between Fantastic Four footage and Robert Downey Jr., everything else. Like, I think this is a great trailer. I think this is a great trailer for a few reasons. One, there's no multiverse in it. So it's just a nice, free and clear, like, this is like, we're between this and Captain America Brave New World. I think these are the two movies that are either going to make it or break it for the multiverse saga, because like it's dealing with the actual universe that we are in. And it's dealing with a bunch of characters that live in the shadow of the Avengers kind of becoming another team. Like, there is this default that we all say that this is like sort of Marvel's Suicide Squad, but it's not really a Suicide Squad. These are all people that have mostly pretty direct ties to the Avengers. And it looks like, particularly, which I didn't pick up on in the Comic-Con trailer when we saw it, you know, the end of that trailer, they all go meet Julia Louis-Dreyfus in Avengers Tower. Like, they are literally in Avengers Tower. And you've got Yelena Belova, and Red Guardian, who are tied to Black Widow. You've got John Walker, who's obviously tied to Cap. You've got Bucky, who's tied to Cap. And then you got Ghost and Taskmaster on the sides. But this is really we don't have Avengers. Even the tagline of like, be careful who you assemble. This and Brave New World with Thunderbolt Ross saying to Anthony Mackie, I need you to reform the Avengers. Like, this is finally what I feel like Marvel has been sidestepping for movie after movie after movie, which is like, well, with no Avengers, who's the Avengers? Like, what's going on? Like, so I think this sort of answers that. And I really like that even in the trailer, at least for the key characters. So say, you know, we know that Red Guardian is kind of living in America and not doing great. But Yelena Belova is still living in that shadow of like the last time we saw her, she had this catharsis with Hawkeye about the death of her sister. And she's still reeling from that. John Walker sitting in his kid's nursery reading an article about how he fucked up his one chance to be Captain America so badly. And then Bucky sort of looking like he's feeling a little bit lost as he's in the government, like doing something, but he's not doing what he feels like he's meant to do when he's in that giant party that's celebrating the heroes of New York. Like, it just really feels like this is interesting. And then the Sentry piece of it is gonna be this whole other piece. But even when they kind of are all in that room where they meet Bob for the first time, you know, you sort of see all these IVs, you see in this trash bin, like some different hairstyles. And it really does seem like in this version of Sentry, it seems like, I'm assuming Julia Louis-Dreyfus, AKA the government, was trying to build a superhero that they could control. And that, I'm assuming, is not going to go the way they planned. So it just looks like a really interesting group of people. I'm excited. Like, I'm actually genuinely jazzed about this now.
Johnny, it hasn't come out yet. There's still time for them to scuttle it, much to your theory. What'd you think?
If you just said right now that you don't think it's going to happen and that was the end of your review, I would stand up and applaud. I'll be like,
you suckers. No, I will say this. I thought it was a perfectly fine trailer. I was hoping for more oomph, more like, yeah, by the end. And I didn't have a moment like that throughout the 3 minutes plus of this trailer. And I think, yeah, Michael, you kind of alluded to what I was going to say. I like the energy of the trailer in that everyone is out of place. and everyone, it's almost like Agatha, right? Everyone is missing something and they're trying to get that thing back. And how many people coming out of COVID feel this way? Coming out of the COVID shutdowns, the lockdowns, so many things have changed in our lives. Some people have lost that spark or that thing that was motivating them because it was such a weird time. So how many people are going to connect to these characters and what they're going through? So this is kind of deceptively smart approach to a story like this, because it could just be, look, it's Suicide Squad. We're all a bunch of fuck-ups. Let's get together and solve a mission. Or it could be a larger commentary about what a lot of people are feeling in our society nowadays, which is kind of adrift, kind of lost, looking for purpose, hoping things work out, and wanting to be part of something good, something better, something that helps the world. And so I like that as an energy with all of these heroes. And then you throw in Sentry, which, you know, as you said, Michael, is going to probably be a Sentry that is, or Shannon, I don't know what you said, that's constructed to become a superhero for the government. But clearly something's gone wrong or something's off base in their version of Superman, because if you know Sentry from the comics, that's the guy that deals with a lot of mental health issues. So clearly that's going to be an interesting part of this whole thing as well. Plus, listen, we got to give another name than Bob to this guy when he comes on the screen. This is twice now he's been called Bob if you look at Top Gun Maverick. You know?
That's his name in the comics, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I know. Bucky fighting the Thunderbolts is interesting, I think, near the end of the trailer, because he's in the elevator shot. So that's fascinating stuff. Walker has a baby. No clue if we're going to see his wife again, but he has a baby, so that's nice. And the baby will probably be in there as long as his wife was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. We see Loki's scepter. So what does that mean? Where are we going with that?
Well,
are we at that
during
point
that's a party to celebrate the Battle of New York. So
that's what I'm saying. Where are we going with that? Is my thing. Is that, are we celebrating the heroes now in the MCU? It seemed like that wasn't necessarily where we were going over the last few movies. So that's going to be interesting. And the other part of this, which a lot of people have speculated on, which I don't know if it's true, could be a hell of a swerve, is that Olga Kurylenko might actually not be in the movie, and that it might be Scarlet under the Taskmaster mask, because Olga didn't show up at the SDCC stuff, and she's the only one's face you don't see in the trailer. So a lot to glean from this trailer, to speculate, hypothesize on, but it's all led by Florence Pugh, who is fucking phenomenal. And it's what I said when they were first considering this movie. She has to lead the movie. Do not make Julia Louis-Dreyfus lead the movie. It has to be Florence Pugh. She is the one to lead the movie. She is the star out of all of them. And very smartly, it seems like that's what the movie is in its approach. And yes, Julia Louis-Dreyfus still horribly miscast in this role. The less of her, the better. So I'm glad that she's only in a few seconds of this trailer. But
I mean, I hate to break it to you, I think she's going to be in a good bit of this movie.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably true.
What do we mean about, what did you mean about like that we haven't been celebrating heroes? Like, I think like
Yeah, good. No, finish your point. Sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to jump in.
Well, no, it just seems like, I mean, I think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been pretty clear. Like, the Battle of New York is a celebration. I mean, like, there's a fucking Broadway musical about it. Like, so I think what we're seeing here, and again, this is kind of the stuff that makes me, I think that where Marvel really works great, and this is where just comic books work great in general, is that they're really, spoiler alert, they're soap operas. So I think where Marvel gets off base is when they're like, oh, well, it's multiverse this and it's this. And like, you need to establish that to get to Secret Wars. But we get the most excited. Audiences get the most excited when we're like, oh, this character was here to here to here. Like, we love Wanda because we saw her rise up in the Avengers. We saw her Vision die. We saw her deal with that grief. Multiverse of Madness happened, and we want her back because we love that drama. So with Thunderbolts, the Battle of New York, the celebration that they're at, the fact that they're in Avengers Towers, they're giving us, this is a movie that lives in the shadow of the Avengers. I think the asterisk to the Thunderbolts team is they're not getting them together and saying we're making you the Thunderbolts. I think they're like, you're the Avengers. They're going to become the Thunderbolts. They're going to become that. But like, this is clearly the government being like, look, we have we need Avengers. And I think that's where this movie's going to go. Dark Avengers, which is what some people have been speculating. Yeah, for sure. I mean, within the world of the MCU, that they're not, I don't mean us. I mean, the actual residents of the MCU, there is a split between praising the heroes and respecting the heroes. That's my point. And so but not the Battle of New York. No, I think that's a part of it too. Because I think what you're going to see is this, did it really happen? The conspiracy theorists type of thing.
And I think that's going to be an element that creeps into this when we go forward, again, to mirror what's going on in our society. So I mean, the way WandaVision went down, I mean, she took control of an entire town. That's going to get out. That's going to get, so I wonder if we're walking into a darker world of the MCU than we've initially been introduced to. And Secret Invasion as well is going to, that information is all going to get out. So there is an anger towards the heroes. So I don't,
but that's what I think that's all true. What I'm saying is that scene with the, like, you are correct, but within the world of the MCU, even the anger that people might have at Wanda post Secret Invasion or whatever is not the Avengers, particularly because most of them are gone, are like, they were great. Like the Battle of New York and those Avengers within the world of the MCU are seen as they were good. Everything after that, the world will be like, well, you're not good enough. Aliens are bad. We're going to get to the point where like mutants are bad. That's a big problem. I don't want that. But the Avengers who fought in the Battle of New York, that is seen as a shining moment within the world of the MCU. It
could be interesting, you know, when you start to see the Avengers as well, make Avengers great again. That's a very interesting thing to explore. It could be a lot of fun.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what this movie kind of does. Is you have all these characters that are like,
I see what you're saying now.
You have Black Widow was great. This is her sister.
So
Captain America was great. So Bucky was an assassin, and John Walker got crazy and killed somebody in front of a bunch of fucking cameras. So like, this is a whole group of people that are like, we're gonna make you the Avengers, but like, you're not Hulk, you're not Thor. I think that's kind of the vibe that they're going for.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Okay, all right, okay. I kind of like that aspect if that's the angle they're going for. Yeah, all right.
I mean, I will keep my comment short because I know we're running long. But I mean, I'm more with John. I felt like I did see this trailer at Comic-Con, and even at Comic-Con, like it was sandwiched in between so much spectacle. With Harrison Ford showing up for Captain America, with the Fantastic Four showing up. Watching this trailer outside of Comic-Con, I'm interested in the film. I think everything that you guys are talking about sounds awesome. I just don't think we got that in the trailer. I think there was a lack of pizzazz in the trailer, and that's not a condemnation of the movie. I'm just thinking the first step that they've made with the marketing, for me, I think they maybe could have gone further. But again, this movie comes out in what, 9 months? Like there is plenty of time that they're going to market this movie. We'll get a second trailer around the time Captain America comes out. But Thunderbolts opens summer 2025 in that Marvel slot, May 2nd.
Do you feel like the trailer, you felt the trailer was a little sleepy and a little hollow for you? Is that what it was?
Wow. I don't think I ever used the word hollow. I may have used a GIF that said it, but I never said the word hollow.
Thunder yes or thunder boo? All right, let's take a break. And on the other side, we'll get into some superhero stuff. If we haven't just finished talking about a bunch of superhero stuff right after this. Oh, great reference, man. I hope some of you got to see Super/Man this week. What a phenomenal documentary. I hope, because I think it was only out for 2 days, 2 separate days. So hopefully some of you got the chance to see it. So nice reference there, Shen. All right, let's get into this thing. Let's just break the seal on it. Kyle Chandler, he is Hal Jordan. A lot of people are saying it's a done deal. No longer the talk situation. It's a done deal that he will star as Hal Jordan in the Lanterns series. This, of course, the series is from Ozark's Chris Monday, Watchmen's Damon Lindelof, and comic book writer Tom King. It's an 8-episode series going to be produced by HBO in association with Warner Brothers. And the way they're looking at this is a kind of true detective approach where they are essentially trying to solve a crime here that's occurred. And Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan will be the grizzly vet, and whoever they cast as Jon Stewart will be the younger trainee, essentially, who is following the lead of the vet and discovering all this stuff as they go along. So, Mikey, I'll go to you first. Kyle Chandler, Hal Jordan, do you like this choice? And I guess Hal Jordan, Ewan McGregor, and who else? Matthew McConaughey are out. Your thoughts?
This is great. Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. He's Coach Taylor. It's Coach Taylor. Like Coach Taylor can do whatever Coach Taylor wants. I think he's great. Even when you put up that picture, I mean, he looks like an older Hal Jordan. Like he looks right. He's got the right vibe. And if you watch Friday Night Lights and saw his performance as Coach Taylor, he has that right sort of he just got that right grounded at, like, he's got the thing. Like, I think this is good. I think this balances it out well. I mean, I think that a lot of times when you cast some of these the bigger names, it sometimes blows up because they kind of overpower things. Marvel, in retrospect, a lot of the Marvel stars kind of became bigger stars post Marvel, but you know, Chris Hemsworth wasn't huge when he got cast as Thor. Like, it wasn't this. Right. Kyle Chandler's had a really good run in TV. He's had some really good roles, but he's never been like that superstar. And I think that's actually going to serve them well for this True Detective kind of grounded Green Lantern vibe that they're going for.
Okay. All right. Shannon, your thoughts on Kyle Chandler here as Hal Jordan in Lanterns?
I mean, again, as someone who watched almost every episode of Friday Night Lights with that guy there, you know, Coach Taylor as, you know, Kyle Chandler as a mentor, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think we had talked about before about like, oh, what if Michael B. Jordan were Jon Stewart? It's like, oh man, that's what they met in was it season 3 or season 4 of Friday Night Lights? Like again,
season 3, I think.
I think Michael B. Jordan again is probably a little long in the tooth to play Jon Stewart now in this version. But I think it's a cool casting. I understand the perception that people might have that you're talking about Brolin, you're talking about McConaughey, and then you end up going with Kyle Chandler. Like, I can see that there is the idea that you wanted a big A-list star, and instead you have this TV journeyman actor. But I mean, you know, the DC, like, you know, who's playing Superman? A guy that you've seen. He's not a star though.
Right.
I mean, I think there are possibilities here with Kyle Chandler playing Hal Jordan that are really, really exciting, because at the end of the day, Kyle Chandler, even though he's not a movie star, he's an incredible actor. I mean, the journey his character goes on for 5 seasons, Friday Night Lights, is awesome. And if you want to see him in a great role, I mean, a smaller role, but a great role in a feature film, watch The Wolf of Wall Street as the Fed who's trying to take DiCaprio down.
Well, also, you really look at this lineup. Like, you put Fillion next to Kyle Chandler, next to whoever is going to be this younger Jon Stewart who's learning the ropes of being a Green Lantern, who's going to be the next big Green Lantern. Like, the 3 of those people potentially bouncing off of each other, Kyle Chandler not putting up with Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner shit just sounds great to me. Like, it just feels like it all works.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the choice. You know, the more I sit with it, the more I like it. Because as you said, I don't know if I call him a journeyman, Shannon. He's a veteran. Like, this guy has been a series regular on shows that have gone on for multiple seasons in multiple genres. And that speaks to being a successful TV actor. And I think that's where he lies, as opposed to someone like Kevin McKidd. I would call him more of a journeyman TV actor than Kyle Chandler. He's successful. Bloodline is also an awesome series on Netflix.
He's great in that.
Yeah, him and Ben Mendelsohn, who you would argue is more of a theatrical actor than Kyle is, they go toe to toe. And you're right to bring up Wolf of Wall Street. He is one of the best parts of Wolf of Wall Street. Him and DiCaprio's back and forths are fantastic. You know, he's almost like Rob Morrow, like a better Rob Morrow. If you remember Rob Morrow from the early years of the 90s, him and Quiz Show with Ralph Fiennes, that's a great fucking back and forth they have throughout. So Kyle has that energy in stronger ways and interesting ways. And the fact that this is going to be a TV-based show, and from what people have been saying in the scoop side of things, there is no movie component for Hal Jordan. So this contract is just for the series. Doesn't mean he won't, maybe down the road, if this becomes huge and people love him as Hal, jump into the movies. But for right now, they're being told, these people who have access to these deals, that it is not going to have a movie component to it for now. But that could change. It's clearly going to be the Jon Stewart that they're focusing on. And Kyle is going to be great to highlight that and put the kid over as Jon Stewart, because he's a good actor who gives to his scene partner as much as he gets. And that's great to see. So yeah, I like this idea. And maybe, and gentlemen, let's swing back to you, Shannon. What do you think happened here? Do you think WB shot was like aiming too high? Was the salary not there? Because I mean, WB's got a lot of problems financially as a studio. Do you think there was a certain amount? Do you think the fact that maybe originally didn't have a movie component attached as well? Do you think that's what turned people off? I've seen some people even speculate that it's a cursed role because of how bad Ryan Reynolds was received as Green Lantern, or Hal Jordan rather, Green Lantern. So What do you think happened here for them to end up with Kyle Chandler, who I think, by the way, probably didn't give two shits being the fourth choice because it's good money?
I don't think it's a cursed role. I don't think Ryan Reynolds' performance damned Hal Jordan for all of cinematic history.
I think shot himself in the head, for God's sakes. But yeah, all right.
I think that there's probably a variety of things that happened. I think if anytime you're in the position to get a big A-list star, I think you probably want to get that big A-list star because you want someone to put on the poster. But also, if the role is just for the series, like I think we had speculated that like this might be a handoff, that Hal Jordan is passing the baton to Jon Stewart. Yeah. So maybe for a big A-list star, like doing this limited series, like there's not that much to it. And say that's not the case. Say that Hal Jordan is supposed to be in X, Y, and Z going forward. For someone like Brolin, who has done a lot of these franchise films. Like maybe I don't want to do another 4 movies as Hal Jordan. I mean, there's so many things that could come into play. At the end of the day, they got a really, really good actor. Yeah. I mean, you always want the best person for the role. And sometimes the best person for the role may be your 7th choice, maybe your 6th choice. Like you just never know. But again, there are actors that they could have announced that I would have been like, ugh. Kyle Chandler is not one of those.
Yeah. What do you think, Mike? What do you think happened here? Do you have any speculation or any thoughts here on what you think happened that they ended up with Kyle Chandler at the end of this casting search?
Yeah, I think they ended up with the right choice. I think, look, Hollywood tends to be a town of star fucking. Yes. And so when you are doing that whole throw things against the, okay, guys, we got a Hal Jordan. Who's it going to be? Oh, what about Josh Brolin? What about Ewan McGregor? Or what about Chris Pine? Like you literally, that's what you do. I'm getting ready to take out an animated feature pitch where we like put pictures of who we thought the actors and the characters in the animated movie would be. And the note that we got back when we practice pitched it was, put bigger names in there. Maybe like Jenna Ortega, Glenn Powell, like get people excited. Wow. Are those people right for those roles? No. But like you get people excited. So I think that's where things always start out. And with these big comic book universes, you kind of go, okay, well, let's do this. Let's do this. I mean, think about all of the speculation about the Fantastic Four casting leading up to the cast that we got. I mean, it was every fucking person you could think of. Yeah. So I think this happened, and whether people fell through, Shannon laid it out perfectly. Whether they fell through because it was a limited role and it didn't have potential to grow, or they fell through because they had to commit to too many things. They fell through. Kyle Chandler, like it's like you do this whole process where you're like, what about this person? What about this person? Let's go after this person. Let's go after this person. And then when that all settles, you go, what about Coach Taylor? And everybody sits there for a minute, and everybody goes, is that a big enough name? I don't know. And then you go, Coach Taylor be a good Hal Jordan. Yeah. Like Kyle Chandler could really do it. You see Bloodlines? Yeah, Bloodlines was fucking good. Guys, they should be Kyle Chandler. Like that's probably what happened.
You might be right. You might absolutely be right. Oh, man. Oh, but either way, we're going to see what happens, of course, because now the search is on for Jon Stewart. Now we're going back in the boat all over again. And if people want to read the Insider, he wrote in his newsletter last night, 18 suggestions for a Jon Stewart. So I think that speaks volumes to how many young black actors there are in Hollywood now, thanks to so much more content being out there for black actors and roles being written for black actors to showcase what they can do. So that's going to be exciting to see who they take.
You want to see some shit go down? Wait till they announce that Glenn Powell's going to be playing Jon Stewart. You see?
Oh, I thought it was going to be Scarlet Johansson. I thought it was Scarlet Johansson. Let's hit some more of these superhero stories. Get your quick thoughts here. Matthias Schnoenart is going to be the villain in the Supergirl movie. Do we like this? Shannon, do we like this? Matthias Schnoenart of Rust and Bone, and the Prestige, whatever it was, the most recent one with
the Regime.
The Regime. Yeah. Do you like this guy? He's kind of scary looking.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a little bit of the Regime. My wife and I chose after about the second or third episode, like, maybe we don't want to live in this regime anymore. Oh. But he was also in the Old Guard. Yes. I think he's a really good actor. The character that he's playing, I've not read this Supergirl run, so I am unfamiliar with this character. But yes, I do agree that he definitely has vibes of an extraterrestrial heavy.
Yeah. Michael, your thoughts on this? Have you read Woman of Tomorrow, and do you think he's the right choice?
It is criminal that you've not read Woman of Tomorrow because
I
it
haven't.
is so good.
I have it on
The
my-
thing that's interesting about this role is when you think about this and you think extraterrestrial heavy, if they do, and like obviously preface this by saying, just like with Marvel movies, because this is based on Woman of Tomorrow doesn't mean the exact story is going to be Woman of Tomorrow. It might be adapted to fit in with whatever Gunn and Safran and everyone are doing. But the opening of that run is basically Supergirl going to some planet that is under a red sun so that she can get drunk on her 21st birthday. But she is in a very like barbarian Conan fantasy-esque world. It doesn't feel like you're on some like you're not like in the Kree or Skrull Empire. Like it's very barbarian. It's a very kind of low-level society. And this person that she meets, that she encounters, is like a very barbaric kind of guy that you would think you would see in like a period piece about Vikings or some shit. And so I think he's really good for that if that's the way that they go. It's like definitely a brutish, just very like tough villain. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this. I love this run in the comics. I think Tom King is great. And I think that the more that I hear about this movie, the more I get jazzed about it. I'm hotly anticipating this DC universe really finally taking off.
Yeah. Yeah, there's already pictures of her on set, so clearly shooting some stuff as well. I have to ask this. Usually I take turns with you guys, but I have to go back to Shannon on this one. Shannon, Disney and Marvel are apparently submitting Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman for awards consideration for the Golden Globes for Best Actors in a Comedy for Ryan Reynolds, Best Supporting Actor for Hugh Jackman, and then they want to push Hugh Jackman as Best Supporting Actor for the Oscars, and they want to get the movie nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Comedy. Is this madness, or are we here now as a society that a film like this might be considered for the prestigious Oscars awards? And I don't mean a comic book movie. I mean a movie like this.
It is madness. But also, I think just because that is something Disney might be pushing, that doesn't mean it is actually being considered.
Fair.
And I think a lot of it will depend on what else comes out. Because sometimes you can have a very bare award season films and stuff pops in that you are not expecting. Now, I am of the thought that you should not discount something just because of its genre. But when I do think of the superhero films in general, when I think of ones that could and should have been up for awards, Deadpool and Wolverine does not cross into that area, even though I do think Ryan Reynolds' performance as well as Hugh Jackman's performance, I think they're fantastic. And the movie succeeds on the backs of that duo. Would I put them up for awards? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Johnny Depp got nominated for Pirates of the Caribbean, so
easy.
Things have happened.
Michael, are Shannon and I a bunch of crusty old fucks? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, movie crossed $1 billion, and they're both very good. I mean, like we've even talked. Like I'll give you. Look, I think it's ridiculous and insane. I also think this is a PR stunt because Deadpool trying to get an Oscar sounds like something Deadpool would try and do. And if this is all just like amazing PR, I'm fucking here for it.
That's true.
Playing the other side of this.
Okay.
Comedy in general is criminally undervalued. Like the best comedic actors in our industry, particularly in film, are always sort of seen as a little bit lesser than your De Niro's or, your really serious actors who can do these things. Ryan Reynolds, by any stretch, is fucking hilarious. What he has managed to do with this role is hilarious. I don't know that I see him getting nominated for a Best Actor nom, but do I see him in the Golden Globes? Maybe.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, again, has played this role for the entirety of his career, and when he goes off on Ryan Reynolds in that car, that is acting.
Yeah, true.
Do I think it's one of the best performances of the year? maybe not. So no, if you were to say we need to start including superhero movies and the superhero genre in awards season, would this be my first choice? It wouldn't, but when we look back on this year and we say what was the funniest comedy that we saw all year long, Deadpool and Wolverine is a contender for the funniest movie that we all saw all year long, for sure. Yeah. So take that as you will.
I think Golden Globes is achievable. I think it would be a crime that he'd be nominated for this film over Logan. I think that would be a super crime because that was the fucking performance, So, but you never know. And you good point about Ryan Michael. He's a very, very funny guy. So, and it's been kind of a weak year for movies, so he could slide in there with these Golden Globe nominations. But PR marketing, I mean, this came out the same day they announced the digital release of the film. So, I mean, it probably was all wrapped up.
A Deadpool Oscar campaign that goes literally nowhere is still gold for Marvel and Disney because Deadpool doing anything is hilarious.
Agreed. All right, let's wrap up the superhero section with this this story here. There is rumors going around here from a number of the scoopers that a Scarlet Witch movie is somewhere on the horizon, and that Agatha all along will offer an update on Wanda's status, if not a full-blown cameo by Elizabeth Olsen by the end of the show. My Time to Shine Hello also is the one who revealed that Matthias Schnoenart was going to be the villain in Woman of Tomorrow 10 days before the trades ran with it. So according to him, Marvel Studios has big plans for Wanda/Scarlet Witch, which include a solo movie, 2 more WandaVision spin-off series, and giving her a major role in the next Avengers films and the Mutant Saga. So Michael, I'll go back to you. Do you like this idea? Are you on board with this idea? Now that, we don't have a Black Widow necessarily coming back, or maybe we might, does the Scarlet Witch now kind of move in? Does Elizabeth Olsen now kind of move in as maybe a pseudo Tony Stark for this magical side of the MCU?
No. But Wanda Maximoff is never going to be a Tony Stark. She is never going to lead anything because the reason
she won't have her own movie? Oh, you mean lead a team?
No. She will have her own movie. I am 100% sure she's getting her own movie. I mean that she will never, in universe, lead the Avengers, lead a team, because the reason we love Wanda is because she's a mess. And I'm going to admit something here to everybody. Last week, because I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Agatha, and I had to wait a week for the next episode of Agatha, I rewatched Multiverse of Madness for the first time since I saw it in theaters. Still not good, but still enjoyed. I don't agree with everything they did, but watching Wanda go bad. Elizabeth Olsen is so good that even though it is pretty clear looking at interviews that she was not thrilled with Wanda's direction in that movie, she still sells the hell out of it. And when you look at this arc that Wanda has had in the Marvel Universe, going from being experimented on by Hydra to becoming an Avenger to causing the Sokovia attack to losing Vision to WandaVision to Multiverse of Madness, being obsessed with the Darkhold, and then having Mount Wundagore land on her. Like, this is Wanda, man. She's a fucking disaster. She's a mess. She's too powerful to be it's not safe to have her exist, but we love her. And and especially as we're about to get into the Mutant Saga, having a Wanda Maximoff around to keep House of M on the table. I mean, she is now within the Marvel Universe powerful enough that if mutants became a problem and Wanda decided that there should be no more mutants, like, that is gold. So I think they're like, and look, they know it. I mean, she's been dead since Multiverse of Madness, and we still can't get enough of her. We are obsessed with the Scarlet Witch. She is a great character in the comics. Elizabeth Olsen owned it. And the second that they called her the Scarlet Witch in WandaVision, they're like, we got gold in these hills. Particularly with, like, whatever's going to happen with Tom Holland. Is this going to be his last Spider-Man movie? Is he going to go away? Like, she is a character that, like, she can keep going until other characters rise up. And particularly, as we did our Agatha All Along video review this week, if the teen is, in fact, Billy Kaplan, as we assume he is, in addition to that kind of keeping Young Avengers potentially on the table, the dynamic between him and Elizabeth Olsen, if she were to come back and now Billy is still there, and if Tommy comes back and now she does have the sons that she thought she would never have, like, there is just so much good story there, and she's so good at the role. They should back that money truck up, and they should put her in Secret Wars. They should give her her own movie. They should send her in with the mutants. Like, just keep Scarlet Witch around as long as you can.
It's a pretty incredible rise for Elizabeth Olsen to go from, like, you know, a post-credit scene to this point in her career and this point in the character's arc to be considered possibly for this kind of a massive push for a character. What are your thoughts on this, Shan? Do you like this idea? Do you think it's going to happen? Does it make sense when you look at the MCU at this point?
I mean, there's a lot of Wanda potential left on the table. Yeah. I think where she started, I think looking back at Age of Ultron, I think that there is a lot of good in that movie, even if it doesn't all together work. And the introduction of the twins was not the best. There was just kind of too much going on, but you saw how Elizabeth Olsen continued to grow in that role and really peaked with WandaVision. Like, I think you can look at some of her work in Multiverse of Madness, and she did a great job. That moment where she screams at her kids, that is such a scary, scary moment. But knowing that how much she enjoyed working with Jack Schaefer, the idea of her potentially popping up at the end of Agatha All Along, to me, that's an intriguing concept. And basically, where are we left at the end of Secret Wars? I mean, I think there's certainly potential for Elizabeth Olsen to continue in that role. And when you listen to her talk about how much she enjoyed making WandaVision, I think it would be an unwise decision not to use her as much as they can.
It's interesting, you know, to your point about the Tony Stark of it all, John. Like, they've done a really nice job in the post Endgame Marvel universe, particularly with Spider-Man Far From Home and No Way Home. But like this whole idea that like heroes live in the shadow of Tony Stark, the fact that there's these murals of Tony Stark, and Tony Stark is seen as this, like, he was the original Avenger and he did all this stuff, and like he's sort of seen as this hero. But what they've done with Wanda, the way that, like, you know, the people of Westview are like, we don't say her name, like seeing the no witches on the building, like Wanda casts as big of a shadow, and particularly over Agatha because she did this to Agatha, but like Wanda casts this shadow over so many characters as well, but in a negative way, that the Scarlet Witch did these horrible things. And we know she did these horrible things, and we admit that they were horrible, and we still fucking love her. We still want her to get her kids. We still want her to be back with Vision. Like, that's a rich character. Like, they're not good. They're 100% they're planning stuff with her.
What I think
sorry, go ahead, Johnny.
No. Go ahead. Finish off the point. Now jump in.
No, I was just going to say with the Vision series coming as well, like that's another avenue that we can revisit Wanda. And like, I'm actually rereading the Scarlet Witch miniseries where she and the ghost of Agatha do go to the witch's road. Right. I think the dynamic that Elizabeth Olsen and Catherine Hahn have, like, that's not something that they've been able to capitalize on yet. Like having them on the same team, like that is potentially very, very entertaining.
Agatha and Wanda witching together would be awesome.
Well, that's what I was just gonna. Well, I was gonna add just that the reason this is all happening is because Elizabeth Olsen has done such a wonderful job with the role. Right? Yes, the writing is good, the directing is good, but what she brings as an actress to the role is why we care about her. Besides all the messiness, you know, like you said, Michael, she's messy, absolutely messy, but there are things about her in the pursuit of what she's going for, little moments of vulnerability, little moments of honesty that I think a lot of people connect to her for and with. But her power, I think, is as big as Tony Stark's shadow. That's how dangerous she can be, as you mentioned, House of M and what have you. The potential for her to be a massive danger in the MCU has been hinted at, and I think that's where they're going to really ramp that up and give her more to do, because Multiverse of Madness pretty much wasted her with that possibility, and there is more here to explore with her power and what she's able to do, because she still hasn't fully come to the place of like full-on acceptance of herself, full-on. It was just right at the end there when she ends up sacrificing herself at the end of Multiverse of Madness that she realizes what she could have done with her power, how she could have gone about things because of all the terrible things that she's experienced, as we saw in WandaVision, in her upbringing, whatever. So there's a lot here that you can do. So I'm all board with this. If they're going to do this, I want to see this absolutely, to see more of Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda in the role for sure. All right. Well, anything else, gentlemen? Shall we wrap it up there? All right. Let's wrap it up.
We did a lot.
We did a lot. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us on our main show here. Don't forget, we did our review of Agatha All Along, episode 3. That is up for you all to enjoy our spoiler review. And we have our Penguin review coming a little bit later on Monday for the episode that's dropping on Sunday as well. So look for that one from us as well. Shannon, what do we have to tell them?
Yeah, if you'd like to follow us on social media, on Twitter, it's at @geek_buddies, on Instagram at @the_geek_buddies. If you'd like to follow me on social media, on Twitter, it's at @Shannon_McClung, on Instagram at Shannon the Geek Buddy. If you'd like to follow Mr. Vogel, it is at MKToon. If you'd like to follow Mr. Roca, it is at The Roca Says.
Mike?
Go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe to Johnny's Outlaw Nation page. Check out all the amazing content he's got there. Leave your comments below. What did you think of the trailer, the trailer, the trailer, the trailer, the trailer, or the trailer? And what do you think of all that comic book news? Let us know below. If you're listening to us on a podcast, leave us some stars and comments so we go up in the rankings and more people can find us. And as always, the best thing you can do is retweet this video, post it on your socials, send it to your friends, and tell them to hang out with your buddies, the Geek Buddies.
There you are. Thank you all so much. You guys are the best. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of The
Geek
Buddies!
Hey!